So, my model found its root on the SR model for epidemiology, and it is in general it described the geographic spread of the disease. So let's first understand what the SIR model is. The SIR model is an epidemiology model, a very simple one that model the spread of disease based on three variables. First one is the susceptible population, represented by S, which described how many individuals can be infected with the disease. The second one, represented by I, is infected population, which describes a population that already contract with the disease. And the third part is the recovered population, which are individuals that has recovered from the disease and cannot, cannot be infected again. This model has two very, very important parameters. The first one is B, which describes the effective encounter of infected individual with susceptible population, which will reduce in the amount of susceptible population and increase in the amount of infected population. The second parameter is K, which describes how many individuals recovered from infected states. Because so my model is slightly different from the original SR model. The original SR model assumed that there is one SIR trend for the entire population. But for my model, I assume that we have a huge total population, but we also have some subpopulation of this population, which all of these subpopulation has its own SIR trend. And adding them up together, we get the total population. How I represent this graphically is I said that my subpopulation, we can think of it as small blocks. And then our total population is a huge board made of these small blocks. How is this different from the original one? In my assumption, subpopulations interact with each other. So let's say we have this block, and we say too bad, it's infected with some disease, and it can spread the disease by interacting with the blocks around it. So for each time step, it spread the disease based on two factors. The first one is a factor that I name as resilience. Every subpopulation has this attributes, which describes how protected that population is. In real life, we can think of it as wearing personal protective equipment such as mask, which reduce the likelihood of an infected person spreading the disease to other people. So it has a negative impact on spread of the disease, which is a good thing. All right, now let's take a look at the second factor. How this block will interact with other blocks also depends on distance. Let's take a look at this block and this block. This block will be more affected by our infected blocks because it's closer, and this block will be less affected because it's further away. So besides these two, I also assume that for each subpopulation, I have a parameter or a variable. It's actually a variable called resilience V. So this happens, this describes our progress in developing a vaccine. How it works is after 10 time step, we have certain probability that increase with time that the population will develop a vaccine. And after it has successfully developed the vaccine, and after a certain time period, when the vaccine are distributed and people got it and they acquire immunity, this block will automatically go into the recovered state. All right, this brings me to my next attributes of my block object, state. Oh, this is really easy to understand. Block can have three potential states. It describes how the majority population is doing. So if our majority of our population is in susceptible states, we say the state is 1. If they are infected with disease, they're in state 2. And if the majority population has recovered from the disease, we say it's in state 3. All right. Take a look at this. So cool, as you can see, as time evolved, the entire block has it's kind of like a bomb. It just bomb and then it goes to white. Model of my SR model. Let's take a look at the original one. So you can see it is sort of different. As you may see here, the peaks are shifted a little bit.